Big.
I'm bringing the big crazy lemon,
Highball.
whatever the bloody hell that is.
Okay, what the hell's a highball?
Highball's the glass, which means it's normally like a mixer, but I'm like, I don't know.
Ooh.
It's got here crazy by name, but serious by nature. We blend our natural rice shishu, I'm going to say, with bitter lemon and a hint of black tea for balance based on the secret Hokkaido recipe, I'm going to say, to deliver the refreshing and lively sparkling lemon thing or Japanese highball in a can. Refreshingly big, maybe just a little crazy, and definitely deliciously lemony.
Fabulous. Sounds great.
They have random shit next door, so
That's
I just
fine.
like every now and again, if I don't feel like beer, I'm gonna buy it.
You're gonna buy a
So,
random whatever mixer. All right. Anyway, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Dogs Down Under, season 3, episode 23. And today is the big day. Today is the big day. The thing that we have riveted on about for the last how many months have we riveted on about this goddamn movie?
oh man. Well, just so you know, guys, we will let you know when we're about to start talking about the movies.
Yes.
So if you haven't seen it,
we will
I wanna
state
spoil it.
there will be a spoiler warning for this episode. If you have not, and I repeat, not seen Deadpool and Wolverine, aka Deadpool 3, please ignore this episode. Come back to us when you've watched it. Come back. But please, dear Lord, do not listen to this episode before going to the cinema, because there's no way I could do a non-spoiler version of this show. I'll tell you now. I thought of it. I considered it. I tried to write some stuff. Now, everything I want to talk about is a spoiler, and I can't help it. All right, number one. So I apologize.
It's just gonna be like, it's a really good film. That's my spoiler free.
Literally, the best I could come up with, it was mid. That was the only thing I was going to say, and apparently mid is good for kids these days. I don't know.
I'm going to take your word for it. But before we do start, there was something that's popped up about 30 minutes ago.
Oh, yeah.
So obviously, right now we have San Diego Comic-Con going on. There's rumors. There's all kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
We got to see Harrison Ford Hulk out on stage, where he kind of went raw and did all these cool things.
Yes.
It looks ridiculous, and I love something like an 80-year-old man doing that. But it has been confirmed that the Russo brothers are coming back for the new Avengers film.
Ooh.
Which is called Avengers Doomsday. And I'm sending Jordan a clip right now because they have leaked a major character. And I want him to watch it live. While he's doing this, whoever's editing will try to edit over my face or something, the actual clip itself.
It's me. Okay.
Okay, so we'll try to edit the clip next to over my face so that you can see Jordan's reaction, but I want to see him watch it.
Okay.
It's only like 30 seconds or something. It's not a long clip.
Yes!
So, they've just announced who will be playing Doctor Doom. So if anybody can see Jordan's face...
Oh. I'm now interested. I'm very interested. Very interested.
As you guys have probably seen from the video, if Jordan's edited it right, or if I've edited it right, they have announced that... No, who else could you bring back for Doctor Doom? The Russo brothers want to make a big thing and make Avengers great again, and they've brought back Robert Downey Jr. RDJ as Doctor Doom. And to be fair, now, I don't know how I feel about it.
How do I... ooh. You've really caught me off guard with this. Right, okay, one... Logically, they can pull it off anyway they want because there's a multiverse. It's fine. Because we're going to touch on the multiverse when we discuss this episode anyway about Deadpool. Now, I don't know. I liked how we ended it with Robert Downey Jr. I thought it was brilliantly ended. Bringing him back. I know he's not going to say a character, but still, you know, I don't know.
It is a bizarre thing. I'm guessing they're going to bring it back. That he's going to have the mask, obviously.
Yeah.
But I'm just curious on how they're going to do it in regards to, because I'm guessing you're going to have to see his real face, or are they going to bring him back?
Well, it depends on which version of Doctor. Well, this is the thing with Doctor Doom. There's been 1,000 different varieties of him, and. Yeah. Most of the time, he has hideous scars and burns and all that jazz, so he always keeps the mask on.
That's what I'm guessing. The only thing I can think of
that's
is
the
how they're
way.
going to do it.
If they're going to bring him back, I want him brought back in that manner. I do not want him brought back to face reveal sort of thing. I think that's the way I'd have it.
If I want him to bring him back as Doctor Doom, I want him to be scarred and horrible and horrific.
Scarred, horrified, and he's constantly in his suit and all that jazz. That would be good. I think that's the best way of doing it.
How funny would it be, though, is they managed to... Obviously, Robert Downey Jr. made the Avengers. Like, that end of that Avengers was epic. And now they're going, like, let's do the same thing, but let's bring him in as the bad guy. And make him epic as well.
It's going to be very interesting. It is going to be very interesting. I'm actually looking forward to seeing some of the creators I follow who are big Marvel nerds. I'm interested to see their opinion on it as well. So I think that's going to be quite good. So
yes, but that was just something that came up. It literally came up about half an hour before we started the podcast, and I saw it on Twitter, and I said, Jordan, I go on social media for half an hour. When we do the podcast, I want to send you something.
Yep.
Because I want a live reaction and see how it is. Because to be fair, I'm not 100% sure if I like it unless they bring him back where we don't see his face.
Yeah.
And if we do that, I feel like it's a waste of giving it to someone that could make it their own.
Downey's got the big range and he's got the theatrics, and Doctor Doom is all about presence and power and having that dynamicism. So that's
that, but how many other people have got or could have that as well?
Yeah.
I just feel like I'm like. Oh.
Also, the other thing you've got to consider is Robert Downey Jr. is actually a safe bet. He's not.
Yeah, that's true.
He's got not. He's been squeaky clean for decades now. He is. He is sweet as. So the fact is that Disney are probably like, you know what, he's not going to mess it up. Unlike some other villain actors who have messed up and then been written out and all this jazz. So I actually think it's quite good. So looking forward to that. Very much looking forward to that.
Yes, but I just wanted to share that. I needed to share that.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Oh my god! And I'm like, I need him to see this because this is insane.
Absolutely.
Okay, so now you guys can switch off if you haven't seen the movie because we're probably going to spoil the crap out of it.
Yes, we're going to spoil we're going to get straight to it. We're not messing around this episode. There is a lot I want to discuss and unpack about this movie. Oh my god! Right. Firstly,
oh my god, mid.
Firstly, I want to say this. Right, I had a big fear of this movie mainly because of one thing, because Disney now own it. All right, Disney are very well known for not being very violent and anything else, and it's all happy-go-lucky. And I was a bit worried that they were going to, shall we say, shackle Deadpool in some manner.
Or at the very least, water it down.
Water it down. They said they were going to give her an R rating. They did, but I was a bit. I and I'm sure everybody else was very, very skeptical on what a Disney R-rated movie would look like.
Because I thought that as well, and I'm like,
yeah,
I just want to. I want to see the opening scene, and just hope that it hasn't been watered down. Yeah. And in the opening scene, you see Deadpool literally dig up the dead body of Logan. And then the time...
Can we just say, that fear of me, the fear I had, dissipated in the opening sequence to Bye 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 by NSYNC. Oh my god. I cannot get this song out of my head. I am obsessed. I was debating about going to see the movie again today. That's how because I saw it on Friday. It's now Sunday. I want to go see it again. It is very rare, and I'll tell you now, very few movies have done this where I've actually genuinely want to go back and watch it again. Because normally I've seen it once, I'll wait for it to be out on Netflix and DVD and blah, blah, blah.
And then I'll binge watch it several times.
And then you're going to binge watch it 8 or 9 times, and you're going to see all the stuff you don't get to see. But oh my god, I really want to go back to the cinema and watch this movie again, because it was so good. It was so good.
And I must say, though, when the first Deadpool came out, that beginning scene, that start scene where he yells out maximum effort and obviously just falls.
Yeah.
And that scene where he's got 15 bullets and he just goes bananas.
Yep.
I still feel like that is probably one of the best scenes I've ever seen of a movie.
That is a really great opening. It is. I think this one certainly...
100%.
This one comes as close. The only difference is it has a little bit more of a setup at the start rather than just... Yeah. Let's just get straight into it. So
but it is brilliant. Like, you actually see him and he's like, I've got to find Wolverine. he obviously, you see him standing over the Logan tomb, and then he starts digging, and then all of a sudden he goes bananas and starts banging the shovel and swearing, and you just see this, and you hear the shovel hitting metal, and it's like, what in God's name? And you're just like, it is brilliant. And then obviously as I call them, the time cops start coming in.
Yep, the TVA themselves. Yep,
and then he just literally uses the rotted corpse with all the metal things of Wolverine to fight these things, or he's stabbing him with ribs and stuff.
Yeah.
And then at one point he straps on Wolverine's arm, so he looks like he's got these claws.
Yeah, well, no, he throws them out and he extends properly, and it's just like, Deadpool Wolverine looked awesome.
And it's just, and the worst thing is though, is like you're thinking like, yeah, man, this is gonna be some like high action movie, or it's gonna be like death metal in the background as he was rocking out.
Yeah.
No, it's literally instincts. Bye. And in the process, he's killing people and he's doing the dance and he's like, yeah, woo! And I'm like, oh my God.
Oh.
And as soon as I saw the first scene and that scene was over, I was like, thank the gods.
Oh, yeah, you literally. I knew we were strapped in for a good ride at that point. As I said, that was my one fear, that Disney had got a hold of it and gone, right, listen. We know what you were like over at Fox, but we're Disney. You can't do that. But I like how they immediately address it when Deadpool says, "Listen. We've had word with Feige. The only thing he won't let us do is drugs, okay?" And he's like, "What about?" And then
that wasn't even drugs.
It was cocaine.
Just coke.
Yeah, cocaine. Yeah, that was it. No. What about? And then they start listing off all the different.
Yeah, and then he's like, "So can we go into the bathroom and do some booger sugar?" No, they know all the slangs. What about pixie dust? What about? And they're just going on, and it's referenced through the whole film, where it's just like, and it's just funny where they're not allowed to use it. Obviously, pegging gets another remark where Feige supposedly actually had to go to the Disney's execs and actually tell them what pegging was. There was this news article about it that he had to actually explain what pegging was. Like, it was insane, and it was 10 shades of insane. Obviously, Wade has decided to hang up his suit after this.
Because he didn't get into the Avengers. He didn't get into the Avengers.
He's now living in an alternate Earth with everyone's back alive. He's been working for Doug as a used car salesman. He's got a toupee that he's stapled guns to his... Oh, Peter. Sorry, not Doug.
Ooh.
Peter. I was thinking, you know who I was thinking of? The King Kong dog, Doug.
Yes, you were thinking, I know which one you were thinking of, yeah.
But he staple guns this toupee to his head, but he's still got all the scars.
Yes.
And it's just ridiculous. And then it's his birthday, and obviously from there, that's when the movie kicks off. But I did feel it weird, like Negasonic Warhead, Colossus, all these ones that were mainstays in the first two films are literally throwaway characters in here.
Yeah, alright, this is the thing. I kind of think that, yes, they could have utilised them a bit better, but my brain then goes, oh, no, hang on, no, because if we suddenly got Colossus in it, because Colossus is such a cool character, and they've done him really well in Deadpool. If he was then on screen with Wolverine, it's diluting the entire Wolverine experience. So I am very, very glad that they kind of went, no, let's just... It's Deadpool, it's Wolverine. Even though with all the references that Deadpool... I mean, the amount of references that the Deadpool throws out in this movie is funny as. But, so the premise is basically the Fox universe, which is now, I believe, is classified as 1005, which is the...
Was it 1005? It was 10... what was it?
I'm sure that's the designation I heard. But then again, I was laughing and crying my head off. So it was just one of those things.
I'm just googling it now.
But
sorry.
Basically, apparently, from the Logan movie, which is where Wolverine actually...
12101.
12101. From Logan dying, apparently it's caused the destabilization of the universe, and in the next 2,000 odd years, the timeline's going to die. Fine, fair dues. However, apparently from up high, Deadpool is worthy enough that he has to be brought over to the sacred timeline because of an important thing that he needs to do. No one knows what the important thing is to do, but everyone knows that he is important and he needs to do it. And the fact is, so he ends up getting a cool new suit. Everything else the entire Taylor scene, I was
in a really creepy Taylor where he's banging in his ass and he's cupping his balls and stuff. You're like,
I like how he comes back through and he was just like, listen, Taylor, fantastic, but he's a predator. And the fact that he keeps flirting with the guy in the admin section as well.
Oh my god!
Who are you calling?
There's so many good little throwaway scenes.
Oh my god, yes.
And it is weird because I did find that sometimes with 2, I found like some of these little throwaway scenes didn't add anything. They just were these little cute scenes that went for 30 seconds and were thrown away, and they just felt like they were just added as a bit of a comical break.
Yes.
Where with this one, I found, but from 2 to 3, is the flow was a lot better in how they did this, where the jokes kind of kept going and it kind of touched on things back and forth a little bit more than just being like a flirty scene and then nothing.
One thing I have to say is, so from there, when we go on, which is the best bit, suddenly Deadpool then finds out basically our big bad, which I will tell you now, Matthew McFadden was immense as Mr. Paradox. He was so good.
Yes.
I know everyone's saying that whatever her face is the bad guy. I forgot her name now.
Nova.
Yeah, Cassandra Nova.
Yeah.
No, Mr. Paradox is the big bad, but again, of course he's British. Because
Blimey, those fucking British.
Bloody British have to be bad guys. Always. But it was really well done. And the fact is, he explains that, so Deadpool then gets the idea of, rather than following along the orders, he does what Deadpool does best, which is he's a merc with a mouth, and then he decides to go off to find a Wolverine to replace.
Wait, no. So before all that happens, obviously that they've said they've got 2,000 years before the timeline fades out. And Paradox, what he wants to do is he's been like, well, what's the point of this going on for 2,000 years? I'm going to blow up this timeline. I'm going to get rid of this timeline. That's a big scene too. We need to add that.
Sorry, yes.
So there was a scene where he was like, well, pretty much I'm just going to blow it up now. That's what we would have used to do, but we don't do that anymore. But what's the point? They're like, but all my friends are here. And he's like, yeah, but your friends are going to be wiped out. They'll be like, oh, what's that? And they'll be dead. Yeah. They won't feel a thing. And you're like, okay, cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry.
So yeah, no, that's great. I forgot the context of that. So it is important context for these people to know. Now, Deadpool gets the great idea. Well, for a start off, he headbutts Paradox and breaks his nose,
which is kind of 10 Shades of funny.
Which is hilarious.
And he steals his little.
He steals. I used to call it Miss Minutes, but Miss Minutes has gone missing, so it's no longer Miss Minutes. But basically, he steals the TVA time porting device. And then he decides to universe hop to go find a Wolverine that he can bring back. And then we get some of the greatest, amazing Wolverines we get to see ever.
It is. He just goes cue the montage, and then you hear this music, and it's just him hopping around finding different Wolverines.
Right, for a start off, comically accurate Wolverine with Hugh Jackman. At 5'3", I nearly wet myself when I saw that.
Yeah, so if anybody obviously, if you've watched the cartoons, you know that Wolverine is quite short. Somewhere between 5'3",
apparently,
between 5'3" and 5'6", I think, people, depending on what it is. So you see him go, oh, that's a Wolverine, drinking at the bar, and then he turns around and he jumps off, and then you just see his head leave the screen, and there's Hugh Jackman's head on this, probably, as Jordan says, this 5-foot kid, and he's just like, where's the rest of you? And then it just starts from there.
Yeah.
And in this cutscene, we get the first major cameo, which I must say.
I just want to go over some of the other Hugh Jackman Wolverines we get to see.
Sorry, yes.
So before we get to the cameo one, I really want to discuss the cameo one. Yeah. Now we get to see Age of Apocalypse Wolverine, which looked badass with Hugh Jackman in that. That looked really good. There was one that was based off a comic book, The Uncanny X-Men, where he's pinned to a cross by some mutant human rebels
with skulls all around.
It looked so good. So good.
With one hand and one just like metal.
Yeah, that's the Age of Apocalypse one. He's Age of Apocalypse.
Is it? Yeah, that one was one of my favorites, and he just looked sick in that.
But one of the cameos, the overarching thing before he finds the Logan he's bringing back with him, is all the Wolverines attack him on sight immediately and want to kill him. Now, one of the best Wolverines that we see is a cameo, which just looked fantastic.
But I must say though, like all you see is his massive back.
Yes.
You see his signature yellow, signature
No,
white.
he's in his white tank top.
Beater,
Yep.
fixing this thingo, and I was like, when I first saw that, I was like, Jesus Christ, Jackman got huge for this role.
I was convinced because I could tell it wasn't Jackman, and I was like, oh, this is how they're announcing who they're going to have Wolverine in
the next one.
in the MCU. I thought, brilliant way of doing it, smart, genius.
Yeah, just like a little throwaway scene, but this whoever it was, I was just like, if this is Hugh Jackman has got huge for this role. And then when the person turns around, I was just like, I want this. This needs to happen.
This was a fan service part, and I think Ryan Reynolds did it a genius idea by bringing it. So the fan service is having Henry Cavill as Wolverine, or as he's collectively been known as and dubbed online as the Calverine. And god damn, he looked good. I would watch that. He looked fabulous. And the best thing is, that's not the best bit. That's not the best bit of the service of the entire thing. The fact that Deadpool references, yes, the Calvary. Now, listen, those dicks down the road, a.k.a. DC, they may have screwed you over, but we at Disney, we are going to think. It was like, yes, please.
It really was perfect.
It was such a little jab that was so good, and I just honestly, the entire thing was just brilliant. And then we finally land on the Wolverine for the movie, not our Wolverine, the Wolverine who's going to be starring in the show. And yes, he's apparently the worst Wolverine because he allowed all the X-Men to be killed because he didn't want to be part of the team and blah 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 blah. X, Y, and Z.
It didn't seem like he didn't want to be part of the team. The weird thing was they said something along the lines of is that he went off by himself.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't always want to be a team player. And then while he was away, the humans came and hunted them down, and
the humans came and killed all the team and blah blah blah. Which right, can I just say right now, right? That would be an impressive feat for humankind because the X-Men, especially because he names drops, the fact is, he names drops Jean, Beast, Storm, and Cyclops. Those four are heavy hit. I mean, Beast is maybe not a heavy hitter, but he's bloody good.
But the problem is too, though, as you think about it, they're less likely to fight back against humans. The humans could have quite easily done that. But to be fair, I would love to see that
I kind of wish there was a flashback sequence for it. Just no, it's not a criticism of the movie. It's really good. I like that they explain it, but I kind of, secretly when I got out, I was like, oh, I wish there was a flashback scene and we could have seen a little bit of it. Like I forget his name now. Who played Cyclops in
Jason Manson?
Yeah. I would have loved to have seen those guys being taking on the. That would have been. Anyway, that's just me having sort of but yeah, so there was a lot of good stuff, and the fact is he brings the Wolverine back, he gets explained that this is the bad Wolverine, which was cool. And then
and the good thing is too, though, is you actually see him when he obviously falls down. Thingo tries to lift him, and then you see him look at his top. He's like, "Is that what I think it is?" And then they flash back to when they're carrying him in, and he's in the full yellow and blue.
The full yellow and blue body armor suit. It looked good.
What I loved about it too, though, is you find out later in the movie, and there was some really nice ebbs and flows. Like, it wasn't all. I was afraid that it was just going to be this big action film that just was action from start to finish. There was just going to be 100 cameos and just overdo the cameos to the upteenth degree.
Yep.
And I was just going to be annoyed, but they didn't. And obviously, in one bit there, he's obviously having a drink, talking to X-23, who's in it as well, which is amazing. I love seeing her in it.
Yeah, it was having Daphne King back for playing Laura as well. The fact that they use the same character, so she's already obviously aged up in real life. So it was just beautifully natural. It was so good.
Yeah,
loved it.
And then also he was talking to Deadpool at one point there, and he actually explains why he still wears this suit, about how he never wanted to wear it, he hated wearing it. But his friends wanted to, and then after they died, he felt this is the only thing he has left of them. And I thought that was really beautiful because it just adds this amazing depth to the character. it gets you to see that emotion that he had with his old team. It gets to show him the Wolverine that we know, that though he is badass and hard and like he can destroy a lot of things, he still has a very good heart. His heart's in the right spot. And I felt like that scene was super, super valuable when he went back and spoke about that. And then obviously for the rest of the movie, we see him in that suit, which is kind of nice as well.
Yes, the fact is that he gets more battle damage as the movie goes on as well.
Yeah.
But basically, they end up at the TVA. The Paradox sends them to the Void, which, as we know, it's pretty much at the end of time. It's where Eliath lives, who is the massive time-eating monster. Is the best just apt description. If you've not seen him, the fact that he gets named, the Deadpool goes, he name drops Loki season 1, episode 5. And he's like, oh, you mean Eliath from Loki season 1, episode 5? Hell yeah! It's like, that was really funny. But then we get, after Deadpool and Wolverine have a kick-ass fight, which was great and awesome choreography on that, by the way. That's another thing I want to go back and watch. We get our first proper cameo. Should we say this is the first proper one?
Yeah, so the Henry Cavill one was more of a throwaway.
Yes.
It was beautiful for what it was. It was quick. It was sharp. It was... I was hoping that all the cameos weren't going to be this quick and ridiculous. And they weren't, which was nice, but it was just like...
Because we got our friend Chris Evans back. And the best way that they did it is that he's in the Void, he's all shrouded up and everything else, and he's looking back away. And of course, Deadpool immediately thinks it's Captain America. Because why wouldn't you? The fact is that it wasn't Captain America is the best thing ever. We didn't get Chris Evans, Captain America. We got Chris Evans, Johnny Storm from the Fantastic Four.
What was funny too, though, is he's like superhero landing. And then obviously you have like Pyro, you have the Juggernaut, and you have a few, and Toad and Sabretooth, all come, and he's like, that's it, I've got it. And you see him, he takes off his top, and that's when he reveals he's obviously Fantastic Four. He's like, he's gonna say it, and then he goes, flame on, and then he's just like,
what?
That's not what I thought he was gonna say. And it was just so brilliantly done to the throwback of like obviously who he is, who he became, and who he's biggest for. Yeah, and then. It was just funny.
That was just great. The entire then there's an entire it's already been shown in the trailers as well. When obviously Wolverine says, who's next?" and then Sabretooth jumps off the rig that he's on and says, "You're mine," and then Wolverine's about to go and Deadpool's time out.
Yeah, and he pulls out all the things.
Have you seen yourself? You look ridiculous. And Deadpool pulls his swords out, which is stuck in him from there.
And
including baby knife.
Yeah.
Can I just say, baby knife? I love baby knife. Baby knife was cracking me up.
It makes way too many appearances weirdly.
Baby knife was so cool, and then of course he's giving Wolverine the pep talk, which is just really funny.
Which is just like a UFC. It seems like a UFC coach. He's like, to get guard, ground and pound until he can't move and all this stuff. And Wolverine obviously, and it's so nice to see Wolverine get genuinely angry and swear and just be the badass that we wanted him to be. I must say though, that fight scene between him and Sabretooth.
To be fair, though, that's how it would go. I mean, well, it depends realistically, but majority of the time is Wolverine would kick.
Yeah. But we have seen a few fight scenes between that Levi, Kenobi guy, whoever played the second one in the Logan.
A
few fights between them. But this was nice, and then obviously Wolverine makes his big speech holding the head of Sabretooth.
Deadpool does,
He's so dumb.
I is my Furiosa, quoting Mad Max. It's so good.
It was so dumb, and it was just funny because he makes a comment prior saying that this feels like a Mad Max world, and then obviously they all drive up in these beaten up cars, so he makes another Mad Max reference, and then he does his giant spiel from the Furiosa thing that just is 10 shades of hilarious, and there's so many good bits. And then that's when we seem to get a lot of cameos soon after this.
Yes, I mean...
And I must say, I was disappointed with these cameos. Like, obviously we saw Lady Deathstrike for a second. We saw
Yep.
the Russian for a second.
Yes,
We
and we will say that because we wondered if it was when we saw the trailer ages ago on one of the episodes, and we said we wondered if it was the Russian from the original Punisher movie. Can we just say yes? Thank God it was.
No, it wasn't.
It was. Yeah, that's
the movie.
Yeah, from the Punisher movie. Yeah,
the Punisher movie. The Russian guy is Kevin Nash.
Yeah, I know it wasn't. It wasn't specifically him. But that's the character.
Sorry.
Yeah,
yes.
It's the Russian, i.e.
Yes.
the hitman from the Punisher movie. That's what I'm saying.
But I do wish they got Kevin Nash in. I do wish they got Kelly Hugh in. There was Azazel. Obviously, they got the original actor for that, which was good. They had Juggernaut, but they didn't have the.
It wasn't.
It wasn't Vinnie Jones.
It wasn't Vinnie Jones. Juggernaut. I like how Deadpool acknowledges that as well. So, oh, you must be the new flavor of Juggernaut.
Yeah, because obviously we've seen him twice now. We've seen Vinnie Jones, and then we saw the one that didn't remove his helmet that was beaten up on Colossus.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just felt like I kind of wish that we got a few more there. That being said, I mean, Lady Deathstrike was a throwaway character. Juggernaut had a little bit of a bigger role in it, but only because he wears a helmet, pretty much.
Yeah. He has the special helmet that can block out psychics. We do get to meet apparently the official big bad, which is Cassandra Nova, who's played by Emma Corrin. She's Charles's twin sister, tried to kill him at birth, blah, 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 blah. She was banned to the Void to keep her safe, because essentially it's a prison. She's apparently made a deal with Goliath. God knows how that happened.
Yeah, but she feeds him
She feeds him all the delirious souls she can find.
And in this, there was this brilliant scene where Deadpool is pretty much throwing Johnny Storm under the bus, saying all these things that he's saying, and it really is trying to. And when you listen to it, you watch this film and you're like, there is no way that Chris Evans could say this kind of stuff.
Not our Chris Evans. No, not my Chris Evans.
Like some of the things he's saying, you're like, bro, this isn't Chris Evans. Like you can tell Deadpool is just being a dick and throwing him under the bus. Obviously, Nova kills him by just removing his flesh.
Oh, that was unexpected. That took me for six for a second. I was like, whoa!
I thought she was going to kill him after he heard that. I didn't realize how, but she literally removes his flesh, and then he just falls down into this, and it looks like a bag of just bones and meat and blood and meat that just hit the ground and just explode out. And you're like, oh my god, I was not expecting that.
It was like you knew she was going to kill him because the way all the reactions that he's like, oh, she's going to kill him. Fine. I was thinking beheaded.
Or
imploded. I had a couple of things in my head, but ripping his skin off and him stood there for which felt like a long couple of seconds as well.
Yeah, it was weird.
Oh God, no, please! I was like, ooh. Anyway, but yeah. So
and then obviously there's a little bit of a scene there where they obviously fight. They get to know him. There's some character development there that works really well. And then obviously the big cloud dog, as I call him, comes rolling in.
The cloud dog.
Cloud dog. Which if you see a photo of it, it does kind of have like this almost like this.
It does.
This canine face.
Yes.
In this grey shroud. There is lightning and purple lighting and all this stuff, but I'm still calling it a cloud dog, so you can deal with it. And then Wolverine and Deadpool escape to try to find the rebels as Johnny Storm has advised them that there is in this timeline.
Yes. Well, we also then get to meet our first. Once they escape, we get to meet our first Deadpool variant.
No, we get our first two variants.
Technically, the first two, but we get to see we get to see our two variants of Deadpool. Which is first one is Dogpool, which everyone knows about from the trailers anyway. Who's played by Piggy the dog, and that tongue, man.
But the worst thing is, though, is you see Deadpool holding him, and you realize they call him Mary Poppins, and he's holding it here, and the dog's just licking his lips like here, like it's not even like thing. And then at one point, then even Ryan Reynolds is like this, and I'm just like, oh my god, what the hell?
Honestly, I understand that Ryan Reynolds, okay, he's a comedic genius. He's got his finger on the pulse of a lot of things and all this jazz, but seriously, what on earth possessed him? I pray that Blake made him like brush 4 times and rinse between
Oh,
each
man.
one. I mean, I tell you that, just no,
But
thank
did
you.
you also notice too, though, like they did a few scenes panned out, but then there were more scenes where it was a close up on him.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if I was you, but if I was huge Jackman, I'd be screwing up my lines on purpose. So he has to keep redoing it and keep getting licked by the dog.
No, surely not. Not Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman is a professional actor.
I don't know if you did, but I'm like, if I was you,
Oh, yeah,
I
I
know I
would.
would be doing that. I would be messing with him something else. So he spends like
Absolutely.
3 days just getting licked in the mouth by this
Yeah.
weird looking dog.
But yeah.
And then we get to meet the second variant, who is Ryan Reynolds with this long flowing hair.
AKA Nice Pool. Yeah. Oh my god, Nice Pool was he was something else. He was massively something else in this movie. Yeah, but basically, Nice Pool helps him out. He gives him a car, which is the rival car that he was trying to sell to a family back on his Earth, and blah blah blah.
So back when we found out that Deadpool was a car salesman, he was doing a thing, and I think it was the Kia Odyssey, where he was like, he goes, "How does this compare to the Kia Odyssey?" And he's like, "The thing's shit," and he's this, that, and the other. And obviously, Nice Pool has a Kia Odyssey,
Yeah.
so now he has to do this. And obviously, they're driving to where they need to be, and then another Deadpool and Wolverine fight scene
occurs
in the car.
To a beautiful Grease soundtrack. It was fabulous.
But it was just funny because every time he smashes his head against the thing, the music would change. And then it started on Grease, and I was just like, oh my god. And it was just...
The soundtrack for the movie, this entire movie was fabulous, in my opinion. Again, well catered, absolutely, top notch, in my opinion. It was really
What's
good.
so weird too, though, is when you think of, okay, Deadpool, he's kind of this badass, he's kind of got this. What kind of soundtrack would you expect? Not the one that we got. Like when he's murdering people with Wolverine's adamantium skeleton, and when he's doing all this stuff, and you're listening to In Sync, Bye Bye Bye, you're like, that's probably not the song that I was going to expect may actually be playing.
No, but it was good. It was so Deadpool.
It just works, and that's the problem. The worst thing about it is it just works.
It was. That's kind of what is hilarious about this entire movie.
Yeah.
Is this entire movie is this is an audience pandering movie. Okay, this was designed 100%. For the nerds, but it works, and we all love it. The fact is, I guarantee you, if Spotify, like probably by Monday, they'll have a thing, and they'll probably show the Bye 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 NSYNC is trending again, and they'll be like, and most normal people will go, why is it trending? After all this time, we're like, yeah, we know. Sorry, that's us. Sorry, we're all bopping out. Apologies, it's our fault.
Yeah, I know, and it's just 10 shades of ridiculous.
Yeah.
And obviously, then we finally get to meet the Resistance after some time, and I must say, this brought me so much happiness.
Right,
like this was epic. Obviously, Wolverine, bit of an alco in this, starts drinking. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it's like, who brought us here?
Yeah.
We get to meet X-23. And
no. This is the order. This is the order, and this is the most shocking bit that's awesome about it.
But it's like this slow motion. Music
for start off, we have Elektra, played by Jennifer Garner, walk in, which is just I was like, yes, thank you.
Her movie could have been like a couple of years ago.
Yeah. She still looks good for it. Then she
looks exactly the same.
Then we have Wesley Snipes returning as Blade.
This made me more happy than anything in the world.
I was like, thank you, yes, because I love the Blade movies.
The Blade movies literally paved the way, I think, for superhero movies.
Yes,
to somewhat
it was the grounding that you needed, sort of thing, even though it is basically vampire movies, but still, it's good. And then we get the cameo that we all wanted but never knew we were never going to get, because Fox had cancelled this. Disney cancelled this movie when they bought Fox.
Yes,
this was in
but to be fair, Fox didn't really have it on.
They didn't have it on the books. They were a bit about it, which was having Channing Tatum playing as Gambit. In comic book accurate costume here we had as well. It looked really good. It was,
and it sounds really bad, but Channing Tatum, a very good looking man, but because of the thing around his head and the way that his chest thing, he looked like super pudgy. Like it looked like everything was just kind of squeezed out. Like not I don't think it's him personally.
The best thing about the entire thing with Channing Tatum's Gambit is the fact that he can't hold the accent, and Deadpool pulls him up on it.
And that's the thing. So we do get the "Eh, mon chéri."
Mon
He's
chéri.
Gambit. He's a Gambit, and he speaks in a
le
little bit of
Gambit.
French, like a little bit Creole and stuff like that. And then obviously after a little bit, you notice that it kind of comes and goes.
Oh, yeah.
And just as you notice it comes and goes, Deadpool makes his crack and goes, "Who's your diction coach?
Who's your voice coach? Because they suck.
Yeah, who's your diction coach or voice coach? Because they suck." And I'm like,
oh god,
it was funny. Like
it was.
he does do as good a job as he can. It's not an easy accent to
you
talk
just
in.
know as well. I guarantee that was set up to be like that because they probably said because I guarantee you because Channing Tatum's actually a very well-known actor. He does a lot of method and he likes to get situated into it and do all that jazz and learn the accents and all that. I guarantee you he could probably do it pitch perfect. And Ryan Reynolds
he was actually
I need you to dial it back so we can mess it up so we get the funny bit out.
Yeah, because when he was doing it, he was actually quite solid. When he was actually like the first bit when he came out was good. The second and third bit where he was talking was a little bit thingo. But the way obviously they had him playing with the cards, the way they were when he smashed the bottle of Wolverine, there was so many really good bits.
Absolutely. But then finally we get to find out that Laura X-23 is in it. Just seeing, I mean, because you kind of suspected, right? We knew there's going to be lots of cameos, so it was kind of like the fact is they mentioned Daredevil, aka Ben Affleck Devil. They mentioned him, and they also mentioned the Punisher as well. And I can't remember the guy's name who was
the guy from the TV series.
No, the movie. The movie, because this is the movie.
Because the first one was like his name is like Stacey Jane, I think.
Yeah, something like that. But
and then there was another guy, Roy something, that was in the second one, and he played a more sinister, better one, but he passed away, so I knew it wasn't going to be him. But one thing that is weird though is Wesley Snipes and Ryan Reynolds has been in a film together, which is obviously Blade Trinity.
Yeah,
and Wesley Snipes has said on numerous occasions that he hates working with Ryan Reynolds. And that during their filming, it was the other way around because he was very in character. Wesley Snipes was very he wouldn't talk. He was this, and he was very difficult to work with. Obviously, tax issues and a lot of other things have made things
I've got a feeling he's been a bit more sociable, funnily enough, after all the issues that Wesley Snipes has had.
I was going to say all the tax issues and stuff that Wesley Snipes. He's like, there's a payday.
Payday? Oh yes.
But mind you, though, is in the end scenes you do see him hugging and getting on and a little bit better and stuff like that, which is kind of nice. So obviously they've squashed the beef.
You've also got to remember that when you're talking about the Blade movies back in the day, this is before superhero movies had really took off. Like we're talking very beginning of X-Men as well, like the first Fox X-Men.
Yeah.
So it wasn't huge then. Whereas nowadays, you're doing a superhero. You're like probably for Wesley Snipes back in the day, he's like, oh yeah, it's a paycheck, I'll do it. Not realizing that the fandom that comes along with you for the ride. Whereas nowadays, all the movie studio has to do is say, we're thinking of making X character from this comic book, and you already know there's a fan base there, and they'll all have their theories of who's the best actor or actor. Sorry, no, they're all actors now, aren't they? Who's the best actor to play that character, and sort of. Yeah. But likewise,
Blade,
the
original Blade came out in 1998. The original X-Men came out in 2000, and I do remember when they released that. Can you still hear
the techno music that plays? I can't.
Oh my god, yes! In that scene, it's amazing. And I must say, you know who was great in that movie but doesn't get enough credit? Stephen Dwarf, the bad guy in it, like the main bad guy in it.
Oh, I do.
I really like him.
I like him as well. I do like him. I just think he wasn't the right character for him.
I loved him. I thought he was great in it.
I think he would have been better as a vampire merc in the second movie. Personally, I think he would have had a bit more oomph to a role. It would have been really cool.
But for me, I like that it set it up where you had this new age versus old age vampires. He kind of was this guy that was really trying hard to make something of himself, which I thought worked really well. But do you remember when the first X-Men movie came out? People were like, Jackman as Wolverine. We're like,
Who the
He's
hell's Hugh Jackman?
I knew who he was, but I'm like, he's done like a whole heap of Australian films. He's done some Broadway. I'm like, how is he going to be Wolverine?
Yeah.
25 years later, we like jizz our pants because we get to see Hugh Jackman again as Wolverine. And that's what the funniest thing
Yeah,
is.
but that's only because we get to jizz our pants because he's actually wearing an actual comic book.
To be fair though, I think even if he wasn't, we're just excited to see him back. But yeah, so we obviously see them. I still think out of all the cameos, one of my favorite one was Blade because I was not expecting that. I didn't think
I wasn't expecting Blade. The second I saw Electra, I was like, "Ooh, maybe we get Daredevil as well." But no, and then when we got Blade, I was like, "Yes!" And then we see Channing Tatum, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
Like, I was exciting for Channing, and I was so excited to see Gambit because I love Gambit as a character.
Yes,
but seeing Blade just made me so happy because it wasn't something that we'd expect we were getting. Like, if they said Blade, I was expecting we're going to get that. Excuse me, that Ali.
the new MCU one, yeah.
But it was really funny because in this film as well, when they're going to the final fight, they obviously say those, yeah, but there's only one blade, and it was just like, and then you see Wolverine look at the table and go. Because obviously, there's a new Blade film coming out. He also says he also says his famous line from the first one, where it was like, "There's always a motherfucker that's trying to ice skate up a hill," but in this one, he's like, no matter what universe I'm in, there's always some motherfucker that wants to ice skate up a hill, and that made me so happy because it is the stupidest catchphrase of anything. Like, I'm like, you haven't been fighting around snow. There's no snow anywhere. You have nothing to do with ice, and that was your catchphrase, and it was the dumbest thing. And the fact that they brought it up was just ridiculous.
Do you know what one cameo I kind of wanted? I kind of wanted Bobby Drake, Iceman, back.
Oh, that would have been cool. I love Iceman.
I can't, because Iceman's one of my favorite. He's one of my favorite X-Men.
Yeah,
I would have loved that, but then again, there was so many in this movie. Yeah. It wouldn't have worked, sort of thing. But it was really cool.
Yeah, and what I found is there wasn't too many. Like, I was expecting that was going to be like they were going to have little throwaway characters everywhere. Like I felt like there was going to be like the Henry Cavill idea, or where they randomly would drop random X-Men or random Marvel things in there that was just going to be like there for 30 seconds and get killed off, or something like that. Like, I was afraid actually when they brought out obviously the three, I was like, are they just going to kill these guys off really lamely?
Yeah,
which obviously they didn't, which was nice.
So big battle ensues with the big bad, blah 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 blah, and then we go back to Deadpool's universe, which is quite cool.
But the best thing that you forget is, so we actually get to see, and the one thing that I did get a bit annoyed at is we didn't get Blade with his signature katana, obviously because Deadpool had a katana, so they gave him a kukri, which is a large bladed knife used in Burma, I believe it is. Kukri is a great knife. Not going to say anything, but he fights with that. But as they're fighting, they get to Nova. Nova gets shot. They put the thing on her so she can't heal. And then obviously Wolverine goes, "Let's save her life." And then she says, and it made me chuckle, he's like, "Yeah, not so long ago we had a little wizard here, and I took his jacket and I found this in his pocket." And obviously it was Doctor Strange. And if you actually notice, it had the time stone on one side and the red one, whichever one that is.
That's the Reality Stone,
Reality Stone, and then obviously she creates a portal, and that's the famous scene where we see them run and jump through the portal, which we thought might be how it ends.
Yeah, but so no, that was very impressive. It was really cool. Then we get
the fight scene was awesome, where Blade and Azazel are fighting. You get obviously watching X-23 and the way she brings down Juggernaut by literally cutting through his Achilles. And watching him drop, and then she throws the bag up to Deadpool. So there were so many little touches that just made us so happy. And I'm like, yes, that was such a good scene.
So then we get into the third act, right? Which is super interesting for a start off. So obviously they're about to set off the Ripper in Deadpool's universe and blah blah blah. Cassandra Nova's like, she's not happy. she wants to take over and all this jazz. So she ends up, basically there's a bit of a fight going on, but the next big thing that's happening, realistically, is we get to meet the Deadpool Corps, because she's hired the Deadpool Corps to come through and help her.
But that was the weirdest thing, is she sent them through, the thing closes, they're like, we've got to go down and get this Ripper out, and then randomly another portal appears, and you're like, huh. And I didn't expect that. Like, I thought I actually thought that maybe she wasn't the big bad, and that's where they've set up her as the big bad, where she's like, actually, if I get this Ripper, I can destroy everything and just leave the Void, which is the place where she governs.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's actually a really clever way of doing it. And then obviously she runs down, and as Jordan says, she puts another portal, and then we see all this smoke come out, and all these people start coming out, which is the Deadpool thing, which is 10 shades of crazy. Also, we get pretty Deadpools there at some stage too.
Yes, we get. So for a start, some of the notable Deadpools. Obviously, first and foremost, we have Lady Deadpool, who's played by his wife, Blake Lively. I guarantee. Yeah, Blake Lively's.
Oh, it has been approved. Okay.
Yeah. She's in the suit. So I guarantee you, Ryan Reynolds snuck one of them home for her. Because she looked good in that. We also get to meet Kid Pool, who is played by his daughter.
Oh, really?
His daughter was Kid Pool.
Because there was all this rumors that the chick that played the Furiosa in the last thing was actually going to be in Lady Deadpool.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't Blake Lively.
No. So Blake Lively was Lady Deadpool. His daughter was Kid Pool. Head Pool was Nathan Fillion.
Oh, I thought I recognised that voice, which is just literally. It literally looks like just a skeleton with about 6
It's basically
the
zombie head of Deadpool who's flying around on a wheelie hat. It was really stupid.
It was 10 shades of dumb, but it was kind of funny. But I thought I recognised.
Did you clock the voice of Cowboy Pool?
I thought it was Josh Brolin, but I didn't. I wasn't sure.
It was Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, that is so good.
And then we had Olin Reynolds. His baby was Baby Pool. Obviously with CGI to make things easy. And then one of the more standout characters, because there is a lot of characters. There is a lot of Deadpool characters. We see Cyberpool and lots of this. One of the ones that stood out the most, which was, I love it as well, which was Welsh Pool. Who is
where he's got the big Welsh dragon here.
Big Welsh dragon across the chest, and that is by...
Was it a Wrexham player?
Yes, that is Paul Mullen.
The guy that was in the background
Super
of
Paul Mullen.
That's so good.
It was, but yeah, crazy.
Because it is funny because you see all these different shapes and sizes, and they're all obviously in the Deadpool. Then you see a few that are like they've got like this ancient samurai, and obviously this is really futuristic one. Mm-hmm. But then it's hard not to see where you've just got this giant white and blue with a red dragon Welsh flag across his chest. It is massive. And it stands out like dog bollocks against the red and the white. It's so good. I was just like, out of all the different countries you could have picked, be it England, be it like thing, and I get why they've done it, but it's just this.
Yes.
The Welsh thing is just something that just is so ridiculous that it made it so good.
It was really cool to see, because I literally, when I saw it, I was like, hang on a minute, is that a Welsh pool? I was literally, I'm not saying I'm an amazing huge comic book nerd, because I'm not. I've got some decent decent knowledge on me though, and even my brain was like, I don't recall a Welsh pool. I really don't. And I was racking my brain while watching this entire beautiful fight scene, which was amazingly done as well. It was
that was the thing though. So in it, you obviously have the dog runs up to him.
Yeah.
Then the nice pool runs through just before all the Deadpools come out, and obviously. Ryan Reynolds, being the dick that he is, obviously uses uses Cool Pool as like a human shield. And then he's like, you're going to be all right. Obviously realizing that he doesn't heal, and then his head explodes, which is kind of funny. And then he's doing CPR on it, and the blood's just spurting out of his head. He's like, I can save him. And then I was like, nah. And the funniest thing is watching Wolverine just pick up Mary Poppins, a little dog, and just walking, and everyone's like, no, don't shoot. So he just walks across the whole scene, which is funny. But then when obviously they started going bananas, I was like, maybe he's the only Deadpool that can actually regenerate.
That's what I thought.
Nice Pool couldn't either. I'm like, that's a really clever touch.
I thought, oh my god, yeah, maybe he's one of the few Deadpools who has regeneration, and he's like, because I know that Kid Pool has it from the comics. I know that Gwen Pool, who is Gwen Stacy Deadpool, she also has. So there is the little Deadpool family who all have regenerative abilities. But I thought, maybe they all don't. And so they end up having this massive kick-ass fight that looked immense on screen. Oh. But then they all start coming back to life and went, oh, so they all can regenerate.
Yeah, I realised that too. I was like, oh, maybe they... Oh, no, yes, they can.
But then But then, bless, we have our Lord and Savior Peter turns up and then saves them because apparently every Deadpool has a Peter.
Yeah, and they all go, and they like obviously, and the worst thing is he's riding his bike because you see them ride their bike home and stuff. And obviously, because he said, "Oh, I keep your uniform just in case you ever need it," in his thingo, so he rides, and there's just this gut with like a little bit of belly coming through, and then obviously he does it and he pulls his head off, and it's Peter, and then obviously they all go bananas, and it's kind of hilarious. But one thing that is actually really cute is that when you actually see the screen where they jump out of where the glass is broken, there's blood all over, it, and they're about to jump out the back.
Yep.
On the bottom left-hand side, there's an actual advertisement for some kind of soup or some kind of something, and it's actually a throwback to the stunt coordinator that passed away during the filming. And I was like, that is, and they've gone back later and put that there.
Okay.
And then obviously and then after all the killing happens, you see Deadpool and Wolverine jump out the back of this window as it explodes. And it looks sick, and you're just like, "Oh my god, it's a still shot. That's amazing." And then obviously you see Logan does like this. And then poor Deadpool obviously lands awkwardly and he falls. He's like, "Man, that was so cool. Can we do that again?" Because obviously he screwed up the take.
It's like, I've screwed it up, and I don't want to walk it out. But oh man, he missed the landing. He's like...
And it was so well done. It was really cleverly done. And then obviously the rest of the Deadpool are all excited to see Peter, which is just funny in itself.
Then we get around. So rather than there being, this is one thing I actually like about this movie, right? Rather than being a big boss battle to save the thing and blah blah blah. No. Basically, it's them sneaking down and destroying the battery, essentially destroying the batteries in the big bad machine.
You find out that this Ripper is made up of matter and antimatter. There's two tubes that feed in, and that's what destroys everything.
Yep.
And then obviously after Wolverine and that eventually get out. Deadpool obviously locks the door, so Wolverine's locked outside because Wolverine was going to want it to be the hero and wanted to do it. And Deadpool takes that away from him, which is really funny. And then there's a scene where there's the glass and he's like doing the elevator, doing like the escalator and stuff, doing all these stupid things. So like the world's about to be ripped apart. Nova's in there about to rip it apart, as well as take the obviously Ripper with her, and he's sitting there doing like all these stupid things. He grabs one of the antimatters and trying to pull it across. And then, as you see, this door keeps getting beaten and beaten and beaten. And then, obviously, Wolverine gets through, joins hands with him, and he grabs the antimatter. So there's this linked chain. And during the big scene where all this stuff's happening, Wolverine's top tears off, and you actually finally get to see Hugh Jackman topless, and he is ripped to the shit house.
Oh, the one thing we forgot to mention about the Deadpool fight, which is massively important in my opinion, is the fact is that Wolverine puts his helmet on, which is a hood helmet.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
which is so good. It's one of the best bits.
So many levels.
And so it's amazing when his armor blows off. I'm focused again. The armor blows off and his top blows off. His bottoms are on, but his helmet stays as well, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And the fact that Deadpool's checking out his abs.
Yeah, in one scene you just see him, and you see this picture, and you've got the antimatter. You've got a close up of his abs. You've got Deadpool, and you can see the antimatter here, and them joining arms. And then just into shot, you see this Deadpool mask go. And it is so clever. And the thing is some of these things are so dumb, but they just work so well. And it's really cleverly done. And I'm like, that is amazing. And then obviously Hugh Jackman comes out, because there was obviously a few people, like myself included, went, I wonder if that's him, or because they've got the helmet of him, have they used a body double?
Yeah.
And then obviously the thing blows up. They're all good, but they said they're going to be ripped to atoms. Nova gets ripped to atoms.
Yeah. Apparently they're dead.
And they said they're dead. And then Paradox obviously talks to the girl, the lady from Loki, whose name I can't remember.
Oh, I forgot her name.
Yeah. Who was obviously in Loki, who's now a lot bigger in the time force, as I'm calling it, just because it reminds me of Power Rangers. But the time force, and then Paradox is like, oh my god, they went out heroes, they did this, and he was obviously sucking up, and then obviously they come around the corner. And the funny thing is, as they come around the corner, Hugh Jackman is still looking exactly the same, and we're like, yeah, I wonder if they're going to take... And then he takes the mask off. So you get to see it is actually Hugh Jackman's body. It's not a thing. And I guarantee they've done that for that exact reason.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no,
a lot of people go, no. But Oh my god, like it was insane. And
The
then
fact that the
obviously
TVA
Paradox goes,
the text was checking him out, and
yeah.
Deadpool throws him a shirt
And then
and
he's
says,
like, yeah,
"Cover up,
put it away.
cover up."
So good. But there's so many like good bits, and then obviously Paradox is like, oh shit, because Paradox realizes that
Yeah, the jig's
no,
up. He's
they're
being
alive.
arrested. Blah blah blah. You know, it was actually quite a good end to the movie. And then obviously that he brings Deadpool brings Wolverine home. He meets Big Al, whose opening line at the end of the movie is, "I hope you brought some goods back because I'm shaking like a shitting vibrant."
Yes, I know, and I'm like, oh my god. So obviously that's where the Coke thing comes in again, which just makes it even more funny.
Oh yeah, and yeah, end of the movie happens. Blah blah blah. A couple of things with Shawarma, which is back to the Avengers and all this jazz. But then we get to see. You get to see a bit of a montage of the Fox movies, which is quite nice, actually. It was quite nice to see a bit of a montage of behind the scenes about that. But then the end credit scenes
is ridiculous. The incident cream makes me so happy because it's not like the other end credit scenes where you would expect like, oh my god, they're going to announce that.
No, they're setting it up for whatever movie next. Yes, no.
Yeah, or Hugh Jackman's suddenly going to be played by Henry Cavill or something like this. Like it's none of this. It is literally just completely stupid, and it just looks like a surveillance camera inside that giant ball where they're with Johnny Storm, where they obviously drove them up to Nova, and he's repeating word for word everything Deadpool told Nova, and then there's just him going, "Hmm." And it is just the dumbest thing because
it's just to prove that
makes him
Deadpool
realize
didn't kill Johnny Storm. Johnny Storm got himself killed.
And it was so funny because it was just like,
Oh.
and it breaks that thing of the nice guy version that we've come to know and love of him, and it's just so funny on so many levels.
Honestly, it was genius in my opinion. The way this movie was done was a roller coaster ride, and it was really good from start to finish. They literally did so well with it. Like the writers, the script, the pacing was good. There was very few bits that I didn't feel well because I went to see it in an IMAX. So I was like,
yeah,
it was. I could see the fleas on Dogpill. That's how good a resolution I had. But it was literally sort of. I didn't at any point go, oh god, what time is it? I didn't sort of watch clock or anything at any point. Sort of thing. I was glued. So that shows how well the pacing was.
Yeah, and the pacing was actually really good because it wasn't just all action. And though we've spoken a lot about the action scene, there's actually some really touching scenes. Like when when Wolverine goes out and is by the fire drinking, and obviously X-23 comes out, and he's like, I don't want company, whatever. And she obviously explains what Wolverine and what Logan meant to her and how he saved her, and kind of put this thing into it. So, and there's this beautiful scenes where they have some slowness where obviously Wolverine then also explains to Deadpool while he wears the top still and what happened. There's all these really bits that just kind of bring it down, bring the tempo down. And then obviously it was funny because originally Wolverine wasn't going to go to Nova. And then as they drive the truck and they pull inside Woods and you get Elektra, Blade, Gambit, Deadpool, X-23 all come out. And then the boot opens and Wolverine comes out.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Honestly, I said to Elle that I can't wait for her to watch the movie, and then she reminded me she hasn't watched Deadpool 2 yet. So I was like, oh well, we'll have to do a marathon then.
Well, why not?
We'll start at one. Just because I love all the Deadpool movies. I mean, to be fair, 2 isn't as good as 1, but then again, it's very rare you get a sequel that's better than the first sort of thing.
Yeah,
very rare. But this in terms of a trilogy, fabulous. Well done. Honestly, yeah. On the money. I think it's because we all expected it to be really bad. I think that's why. Yeah. The second we found out Disney bought them, we're like, oh no, Disney are gonna ruin all the fun.
And that's the thing, though. There was a lot of things there where we're like, oh god. And I must say there were some concerns.
Oh yeah. Oh no.
I must say though,
everyone
the first scene though, made it realise that though this may be. Those may be a Disney version of it. It's still Deadpool.
Oh yeah, and literally, as I said at the very beginning, all my concerns that I had in terms of Disney-fying Deadpool had gone out the window on the opening sequence. I was like, wow. I was like, if this got past Disney, it's like, yeah, I can only imagine what's coming, and I wasn't disappointed by the rest of it. I mean,
And I must say there is a few funny lines in there when both Deadpool and when Deadpool says and on a couple occasions that Wolverine's going to be playing this part until he's 90. He's
Disney
like,
brought
you're
back
not.
until he's 90.
Yeah, like it was quite funny, and there was some really.
Well, I've just literally the one scene that's popped in my head that's really funny is when Deadpool is being explained about the sacred timeline and all this jazz, and he's in his suit and everything else, and he ends up smashing the fourth wall camera and says, "Suck it, Fox! I'm going to Disneyland."
Yeah. Yes. That bit was ridiculous, and it still made me laugh.
That bit was really stupid, but it was just a big. I just loved the way it was done, and it cracked me up when it happened. But yeah, no, honestly, they definitely. If I wouldn't be shocked if this is possibly the biggest film of the year, because
just so
I know
you
it's already smashing the box office, isn't it?
So I bought this up. So according to this, it says posted on a website called Deadline.
Yeah.
10 hours ago, it says Deadpool and Wolverine alive and howling on its way to a 420 million global opening. Forbes has it at 400 million plus.
Jeez.
Is clawing its way to number. It says that it's clawing its way to the number one ever released. So on average, they work out that based on their opening weekend, most movies earn 2.7 times what they make on the opening, which would put this at I think they said it was a $1.08 billion.
Wow. God.
So the thing, so it's going to be $1 billion movie, and I'm not surprised. Like,
yeah,
this thing, like, obviously, genius to Ryan Reynolds when he came out, when he said, "I've got nothing." When he's like, "I went through this," and he's doing all these things, and then just having Wolverine walk into the background, like that was done probably 3, 4, 5 years ago, maybe. It would have been a while ago.
No, it was 2 years ago, I think, something like that. It wasn't. Yeah. I don't, maybe 3, but it wasn't 5. I know it wasn't 5. But yeah.
It was a while ago, and ever since then, it's been great. Also, there's so many different interviews that they're done now that are going viral. There's one bit where they went, "You've been here all day. You've probably done a lot of crappy interviews." He goes, "How about this?" She points to Ryan Reynolds. She goes, "You be Hugh Jackman, and you be Ryan Reynolds, and add this."
I've seen this. This is funny.
And Ryan Reynolds puts this Australian accent on, and just talks in this Australian accent, answering as if he's Hugh Jackman. Do yourself a favor, Google it. Absolutely. I don't have a link. I wish I did.
I saw it on TikTok randomly, so I can't even link that. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I saw it on a short, and it was the funniest thing I've ever seen. But he's got this really great Australian accent, and he keeps saying these liners that are just brilliant. And Hugh Jackman and even the Canadian director that he's with are losing their god awful mind. But yeah, it is ridiculous.
No, it is. I mean, as a movie goes, I'm not gonna. I say I don't know if I can give a 10. Am I allowed to give a 10? I want to give a 10, but I feel like if I give a 10, I can't ever surpass that. So this is definitely
9.5 or 9.8. He's going.
I am going 9.8. Only because I wanted a couple more cameos personally. That is literally it.
my only problem with some of the cameos is I wish that we had have got some of the original actors. Yeah. Lady Deathstrike you don't see as much, so that's not a thing.
Yeah.
But I think with Juggernaut you needed to bring back one of them.
Yeah. I do agree. I think you would. I think because given the fact that when we had, we've had Endgame and all this jazz, and we've had everyone comes back and plays their character. I think we could, for this small little thing, this small big fight thing, they could have gotten all the cameos out, and they could have just gone and literally, and so you don't know where to look. It's like, oh my god, that's so and so. That's so, it would have been so good. But I understand there is a budget thing, and Disney didn't want to throw. They didn't want to put all the eggs in one basket, and they were like, so
Well, they have since now a thing that a R-rated movie will work.
Yep.
So it's been officially announced at San Diego Comic-Con that Blade is definitely going to be R-rated.
Good. It needs to be. Who
has to
wants to
be.
go
But they've
see
also
a
they've also
non-R-rated
released.
Blade movie? Sorry, who wants to go see a non-R-rated Blade movie? I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's obviously open that way for us to get more of that kind of style,
Yeah.
which is great. Also at San Diego Comic Con, they've released their Phase 6. So
Oh, the
July
Mutant
20.
Saga. Yes, I heard.
No. This
No.
is different. So
Oh.
this is the next 4 films that are coming out, which they've called their Phase 6. So the first one is July 25th, 2025, which is the Fantastic Four First Steps.
Oh, okay.
And if you've seen the actual artwork, it kind of has this more old school kind of like sort of cartoony vibe to it.
It's a bit a bit of the original cartoon. Yeah, okay.
And it's got this play on it. So I'm hoping, like, I don't know, like, part of me's hoping that they're not going to do this is how they got their powers again.
Mm.
Because we've seen that a few times.
Yeah, no, honestly, they can skip that bit. We're all good. We're all good on that bit. We're very much all good on knowing how.
And I must say, I'm not entirely sure of the cast. Like, Pedro Pascal, obviously doing Gladiator 2. He was in Wonder Woman. He's done so many. He seems to be in everything nowadays. I'm not 100% sure on him as whatchamacallit, as Doctor. No, what's his name? Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah.
The guy from Bear, which is this New Jersey style accent.
Oh yeah.
Who's playing the Thing? I'm like, he could do well, but it's just funny. Obviously, they've just announced Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom, which should be epic. Then we go into November 7th, 2025, which is Blade. So we're finally, after probably 10 years of them going back and forth, it looks like they're finally getting it. And then comes the big one, which is May, and it's almost a whole year. May 1st, 2026, we're having Avengers Doomsday.
Yeah.
And then May 7th, 2027, we're having Adventures Secret War.
Secret Wars, yep, can't beat it. I love
that's huge, having that year gap between the two.
It is, but it does give us a chance to get the for God's sake, Spider-Man Venom suit. Hopefully, because that's where that was Venom Spider-Man was done in Secret Wars in the original comic. Yeah. So obviously, I'm hoping that they're going to give us a Spider-Man movie that teases it, just teases it, just gets it out there. Maybe that would be good. But I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. Obviously, we've got the new Venom movie coming out, so the Venom: The Last Dance coming out too. So I'm looking forward to that as well, sort of thing.
And I must say, I am very happy the Russo brothers have come back for the Avengers, because I feel like they know the right way of doing it. So, and I think it's smart for them to bring them back, even if they only bring them back for those. I think that they just seem to have this beautiful touch with, after doing the first Avengers film, the Avengers is a huge thing because you've got so many players, you've got so many balancing that you need to do. And I think they did a really good job.
Absolutely.
Speaking weirdly of the Russo brothers, I actually watched that Rebel Moon.
Oh, yeah.
Netflix. So I watched 1 and 2 the other day. I just binge watched it. And I'm like, I didn't hate that as much as, like, there was a lot of hate for this. And I'm like, I didn't hate it.
I struggled with the first one. I only got halfway and I was like, I'm bored of this, and I turned it off, sort of thing. I probably need to just persevere and try and get through it more than anything. But it was...
The first one is, you're kind of still, like the first half of the first one, I do agree, you're trying to find your feet still.
Yeah.
And it is trying, and I must say that as much as I like the main girl, it's a little bit hard to connect with her.
Yeah.
And I think that's because obviously the character is meant to be this kind of thing, meant to be this kind of difficult person, but I understand that.
Yeah.
But that being said, I must say, like, bringing them back, I think is really clever, allowing them to be able to do this with almost a brand new set. And one thing I do want to bring up is there's this really funny scene, and it's only for about 30 seconds in Deadpool that we didn't bring up.
Mm-hmm.
And on a screen, there's Ryan Reynolds, half his mask is removed, and he is obviously being held by Thor. And it looks like Thor's crying over the top of Deadpool. So obviously there's some kind of Avengers thing. There's been rumors thrown around that what's going to happen is he's going to save Loki by becoming the time person, the time weaver or whatever Loki is at the moment. There's all these cute things. But then throughout the movie, every time Deadpool sleeps or passes out, it's like, Thor, oh, hold me, Thor. And there's all these little jokes to it.
Yeah.
And things like that are very easy to miss. Is it's just
I think
really,
that
really clever.
ties in. That has to tie in with one of the next Avengers movies at some point. It's going to be really.
Do you reckon we're going to be able to see a Deadpool in the Avengers?
Yes, I think it would be quite. It would be very interesting to see it. I think that the people would love to see it, especially with the Merc with the mouth. The Merc with the mouth is just awesome as a character anyway. Having him in the Avengers would be funny. The fact is that we got to see him able to time jump to another reality and to get to the 616 universe, the sacred timeline, and apply for the job. It's interesting.
Yeah, where you actually got to see Happy and stuff. But my only problem is with that is that it's going to be hard because there were times where even with Ant-Man, he's got that comic relief bit where when the things were trying to get serious, he was able to at least tone it down while the fighting was happening. And there were times where he did show that. Are we going to get these massive fight scene where Deadpool's being Deadpool? And is it going to take away from some of the seriousness and the overtone of the film?
I think it depends on the entire thing, because the fact is Deadpool has always been the comic relief character. The fact is that he saves the world. In fact, to be fair, he saves the universe in some of the. I mean, he kills everyone in the universe to save it, but still, it's the way he works. But yeah, it will be interesting long term to see what they're going to do with this character. Now, the fact is that Disney can see, well, look at how much money you've made. It can be good. So I am very much looking forward to the future of Disney and Deadpool. It's going to be interesting.
And I must say, there has been a few things thrown around, even before we saw this, that I know Rotten Tomato had it at, I think they had it at 81% was the critics, and it was like 97% for the audience.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. But there are also a lot of people that have been throwing around, this movie will help save the MCU. This will help rewrite the MCU and refresh it. And after seeing it, I kind of agree. I'm interested again I'm interested to see what's next for Marvel. Where after the Avengers, I was like, that was a perfect ending. That was beautiful. And then though I've seen the movies and I've watched, I think, one or two of the series, not many of the series, because I do think we just got too much of it. I was like, nah. Like, I'll watch them because they're on Netflix and I don't have to, I wouldn't go to the movies to see them.
Yeah.
Where this one was very different. This one for me made me go, I'm interested again. What's next? How are they going to do this next?
Yeah. No, I think that was the way. I mean, as I said to you when I messaged you, because I informed Des I was going to the cinema. I said, I'm at the IMAX, I'm about to watch Deadpool. I said, FYI, if you see any messages from me in a couple of hours, just ignore. Just ignore any messages from me until we speak at the podcast, because I don't want to. I can't be held responsible for spoiling.
And that's why I end up watching it Friday night as well, just because I'm like, I'm like, there's going to be a message from Jordan where he's just not going to be able to contain himself. I'm like, I guarantee Al hasn't gone with him. Eddie probably hasn't gone with him, so he's just like, no, I need to talk to somebody, and I'm going to get offloaded. So I'm like, I'm watching it Friday night.
I was very good in our chat.
I was very surprised.
I was super good. The only thing I'd said to Des, because Des didn't have time to go to the cinema to watch it, but I was like, you've got to go to the cinema to watch it. Why? You've got to go to the cinema and watch it. Yes. I was very, very adamant, but I know he hasn't had time. But I'm assuming he's probably
very adamant.
He's probably watched it once. He's like, I need to go to the cinema and watch this.
Yeah, very much so. And I think that's the beautiful thing about it is that there was so many great points of this where you're just like, oh, this is so good.
Yeah, honestly, being in the IMAX and feeling all the sound hit me and just seeing it on the big screen, it was awesome. But yeah. Anyway, I've just realised how long we've been ribbiting on for. I'm going to end the episode now. I'm going to end the episode now. I want to say a big thank you. Please make sure you do like, share, subscribe, follow, do everything you need to do. We're available on all good podcasts, places where you find us. If you want to see our beautiful faces, you can see them on Spotify as well as our YouTube channel at Dorks Down Under. Let us know what you thought of the movie if you have seen it. Is there any cameos that you wished you got to see? That's what I want to know.
So if there was a second Wolverine and Deadpool movie, which characters do you want to see most?
Oh, that's interesting. That is interesting. That's definitely a future talk episode. Right. Anyway, much love, people. We gotta go. Peace out.
Layers.